Carlos, what's up, man? Welcome to Dad Edge.
Brother, I'm so excited about this particular podcast, and you already know why, right? From one dad to another. This is, all things aside, it's, businesses and blah, blah, blah. This right here is what makes my world what it is today. You know what I mean? And we're going to get into that. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. I know we're going to talk about you, two girls. We're going to talk about marriage. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about getting over adversity. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. But yeah, you're right, man. One thing I've noticed, you and I were talking about some of the guests who have come on the show. And man, like I said, we've been blessed to have high level guests like yourself. And one thing I've noticed about fatherhood in general is that no matter how, it doesn't matter how bad of a professional athlete you are, or how deadly you are as a Navy SEAL, or like if you're a New York Times bestselling author or a celebrity actor or anything like that, man, we all put our pants on the same way when it comes to fatherhood, man. It will humble us, bring us to our knees. But the other thing too is that it's so important to us. I want to get to your childhood, but before we do that, I just want to start off with some fun questions with you.
Yes, sir. Let's do it, man.
All right, man. So let's talk about this. I know you own 31 businesses, but what I really want to know is, what is something that you like to do outside of work that, man, just, it's your happy place, man. It brings you joy.
Okay. Well, I've noticed that my family is what keeps me grounded. My family. And it took me a few years to actually, when I would start, I call it yellow lighting. You got green light, yellow light, red light is when you start going into like anxiety, depression, and all kinds of stuff, right? When I start to yellow light, brother, all I got to do is say, babe, get the kids. We're going up north, right? We love to go to like Sedona. We love to take, Hawaii, Oahu North Shore. That's one of our spots as a family, right? We've been going there since 2016. And that's it for me. If things are becoming overwhelming on the business side, all I got to do is spend 2, 3, 4 days with my kids, my wife, and I'm back. So, man, that's it. Just being present with my children, bro, that means the world to me. And that really helps me.
Dude, let's talk about that for a second. Cause like I said, we've done 700 plus interviews.
Yeah.
Being able to recharge your batteries by literally getting off the grid, right?
Yeah.
Being with family. So what is it about those trips that just re-energizes you? And the reason I'm asking this is because a lot of families, a lot of people, a lot of dads and moms will be like, it wasn't a vacation, man. It was a trip because it was work, man. The kids were there. Vacations where you chill and you recharge your batteries. But you, on the other hand, this is where you recharge. So what's the difference?
Intention.
Yeah.
Just being intentional with what you're doing, being intentional with your family. Brother, if you were to, I don't know, I'm sure you've interviewed some guys that, they got their family time scheduled in their calendar, right? I got my family time scheduled in my calendar, brother, because you know what? A lot of people, especially high level entrepreneurs, you're like, hey, so what's your priorities? Oh, my priorities are my family. They all say that, right? Like, oh, but I'm like, okay, well, let me take a look at your schedule, right? You see, show me your schedule and I'll tell you what your priorities are.
Yeah.
So for me, it's all about intention, being intentional with your time, moving with a purpose. And if I'm scheduling my morning routine from 6 to 10 every morning, if I'm scheduling interviews like this one, right? I just got out of a meeting at 11 a.m. It's 11:16 here, right? That's why I was a little late. I'm like, brother, it's like, why would I not do that for my own family? Why would I not schedule intentional time? My intentional time with my family is from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And you know what? The other thing that a lot of people don't know is I drop my 8-year-old to 3rd grade. I drop her off every single day. Nobody else, not grandma, not wife, not aunts, not nobody. Daddy drops off. And that's, brother, when I talk about programming, you should hear the conversations her and I have every morning. What here? I'll bring a smile to your face. All right, we're entrepreneurs, and it's like monkey see, monkey do, right? I have never pushed my 8-year-old daughter, to do anything in regards to business. I haven't put her. She's going to a school next year called Edison School of Innovation, which is specifically for critical thinkers and entrepreneurs. That's where I'm sticking my daughter. And now, okay, I wanted her to have a childhood, right? First, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. Now it's getting a little more serious. Okay, now we're going to start tuning up those, critical thinking and creative skills. But my daughter is the only third grader in her school that I didn't even know this until about a few weeks ago. My wife buys her these $2 like pop toys.
Yeah.
And she sells them for $5. She makes $90 to $120 every single week at school. As a third grader. Brother, God is my witness. I never asked her to do that. This was all her. I was up in Sedona, and again, kids learn through demonstration programming, right? I was up in Sedona, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get my baby girl some beads so we can kind of make some energy bracelets, with different crystals, right? She tells me like, Daddy, can you buy me a lot? Can you buy me a whole set so we can actually put them together and I can sell them? Like, this girl's already an entrepreneur. Again, she's not going to be our athlete, but boy, oh boy, she's already on that path to, being an entrepreneur. And bro, like the first time I heard of her doing this, you can ask my wife. I literally cried. Like I cried out of pride. I don't know. I was just so proud. I was just so proud of her, man.
Yeah.
Right. I was just so proud of her. It's like 8 years old already doing this. I'm like, man, you're on the right path. So there you go. I hope that answered a few of your questions, man.
Heck yeah, man. That's quite a start. And there's something magical, man, that happens when you take your kids to school and you get that quiet time in the car. Man. You and I were talking about a mutual friend that we have, Vito Galati, who is also my workout partner. And Vito and I wake up at 4 a.m. every day, and I pick him up every morning by 4:30. And the reason that we get up that early is because I need to be back home at my house by 6:45. So I can take my 2 oldest boys to middle school by 7:05. That's when we leave. And there's something that is amazing. Like, they always ask me, like, Dad, why do you get up at 4 a.m.? I was like, well, I could sleep till 5.
You're creating the space. 5:30. You're creating the space.
Yeah. And I was like, well, why do you do it? I was like, because I want to take you guys to school.
I love it.
And the only reason I get up at 4 a.m. every day is because that gives me the time that I need to work out with Vito. That gives me the space I need to reflect on scripture and get my brain set for the day, and my heart set in the right direction. And then I get to have like these really cool conversations. So every morning we do morning gratitude. What are you most thankful for today? What are you most excited about today? What obstacles do you might see happening today that you need to keep a watchful eye out for?
Absolutely.
And it's those times in the car on the way to school, man, they are just absolutely, they're priceless,
Now, let me ask you this though, because you and I both know it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
The phone.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not talking about me and you as dads. I'm talking about, my daughter she has her phone and she plays Roblox or whatever.
Roblox, yeah.
She's like, she comes up to me the other day, like, Daddy, mom was taking a nap. This was Sunday. She's like, Daddy, can I buy some Robux? And I was like, or Roblox, but I think it's called Robux, like, putting more money into so you can create more stuff. And I was like, well, yeah, baby, how much do you want? And she's like, she wouldn't give me a number. And I was putting her in a position, critical thinking, right? Like, baby, how much, what do you need? What's going to help you right now? You see? So she's like, okay, well, you've done 20 for me before. I said, okay, let's do $20. Right. But nonetheless, when we are in the car on our way to school, I am not on the phone and I don't have her on the phone either. So my question to you is, because it's probably way harder for you to keep your boys off the phone. You know what I mean? Especially if they're already dealing with social media and things like that. Do you keep them off the phone?
So you're catching me at a very interesting time.
You try.
They're 15 and 13. So the morning, yeah, they don't have access to their phones in the morning. Mm-hmm. Actually, what's really cool is, so my 15-year-old does, because he actually he's pretty darn disciplined as far as him getting up early. And he wants his own time, and he subscribes to the verse of the day. So what he does is he'll look at the verse of the day and then he'll send it to me. So the first thing that I see is what he reads in the morning, which is the verse of the day, and then he sends it to me. But that my 13-year-old does not get on his phone in the morning. I don't get on my phone while we're in the car talking.
Beautiful.
Because I love, and some, I'm just being real, but some mornings are more quiet than normal, like depending on if they're both walking through a crucible, maybe they both got an argument, who gets in the front seat. Some mornings are great and some mornings are a bit challenging, but it's all about the time. Now I will tell you this, the container that we keep the kids in the evening, we've slipped out of it just a little bit here lately, but my wife and I literally just had the conversation today. We're like, okay, when they get home from school, the first thing they have to do is a chore that we have identified, right? So they do that first, and then we allow them to get on their phones for 45 minutes or so. Okay. And then from 6 to 8 p.m., there is no phones, not even for us, right? So that is the container. And we, just being real, we've slipped in and out of that, right? Depending on what's going on, the challenge.
For sure. You're human, brother. We're human, right? Yeah.
But my wife and I we were like, listen, that's the container we need to get back to, because what we've done is, my son, like we've had football practices and track meets and all this, like tons of busy work, tons of busyness. And what we've noticed is we've slipped. So the kids will do their chore. They will go to they'll go downstairs, they'll get on their phones and they'll come up for dinner. And sometimes that's like an hour and a half. I'm like, man, we can't be doing that. And then they'll want to go back downstairs and get back on it. I'm like, man, we got to get away from that. Like, let's get back to family time and gathering. And that's what we're doing again. So, but yeah,
absolutely. And remember this, brother, remember this. You got a 15-year-old, you got a 13-year-old. I know this is a tough question. You know what? I'm just going to interview you. Right. So I'm joking. You have your boys for, man, like this much more.
Yep.
Before they go do their own thing, right? Before they go and take their place in society and the world, right? Man, that hit me like a ton of bricks the other day. My daughter's going to be 9 this year, June 29th. I went to her meet the teacher for 4th grade before because I'm going to transfer over to this new innovative school. And I'm like, man, it started. I got a little sad, man. I got a little sad. And you know what? I love feeling that emotion of she's not going to always be under my roof. Why is that? Right? Because it gives me some urgency. It gives me some urgency that I'm not going to have her under my roof for too long. And then I take that urgency and that emotion, right? And then I think of my 2-year-old and I'm like, I'm going to enjoy the heck out of you while I can, because this one has 8 years left or whatever, you're in a worse situation, and you're in a good situation, but you're in a worse situation where your boys are going to check up on you once, twice, maybe a week or something, right? Whatever that will look like. And our time is limited with our children. And here, watch this.
Yeah.
For everybody out there listening, I learned this the hard way because I created this empire and I put it all on the line. I sacrificed everything. I sacrificed my time. I sacrificed my health. I sacrificed, the first 2 to 3 years of my baby girl's life, my 8-year-old. I was there obviously to sleep there, and I was there for the birthdays, but I was, daddy was trying to build this thing. Right. And man, they don't really care about all that. They don't care about how much money we make and that I dropped. Oh, by the way, my daughter, she's like, we have an agreement. If her grades are good, daddy has to drop her off on Mondays in the Rolls Royce Wraith. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like daddy has to drop her off on Mondays in a Rolls Royce Wraith, right? So that's the agreement we have. But see, again, she doesn't care about all that stuff. How do children spell love? Time. That's it. That's it. That's all your children want. That's all our children want. They just want our time. They want our attention. They want our time. They want our energy. That's it. Don't be one of those. And I've been there, by the way, where like daddy wasn't around because he was grinding, but I would give her the biggest, I would spend thousands and thousands of dollars on her birthday party, right? Brother, I can tell you this. One of the best things that we do now, her and I have a daddy date night. I love to take her to Dave & Buster's.
Yeah, man.
See, I put, all kinds of, chips in the card, and her and I just go crazy for about an hour and a half. Again, I'm intentional with my time with her. I'm not one of those guys or one of those fathers that I spend time with my kids. Okay, what does that look like? Yeah, well, we're in the living room and we're on the couch and she's on her phone and I'm on mine. Absolutely not. That goes against all my principles. So I want people out there to really understand that, all our children want is our love, our time, and our attention. And if I don't give a crap if you're a multi gazillionaire or if you're financially not doing very well, you're broke. You could still be a great father if you just provide those three things to your children. So I hope that serves people out there, man.
Oh man, that is very well said. And, scary statistic, right? Is this?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, man.
Bring it on, baby. I know you got all the death statistics, so bring it on.
80% of your one-on-one time with your kids is gone by the time they're 12. Crazy stuff. I mean, I have 4 boys. I have 15, 13, 7, and 5.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I'm right there with you in my 7-year-old, you have the 8-year-old. And yeah, these times are fleeting, right? And you're right. It's not these big gargantuan things that our kids need. Like I have a date night tonight with my 7-year-old. And I was like, what do you want to do? He loves books. He's like, I want to go to the library. I'm going to go to the library and read. And then I want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings for some wings. And it's nothing ever that's like massively big, but for him, it's like sitting next to his dad as he picks out a book that he wants to read in a quiet place, and then going to a place where he likes to eat and then watch like whatever's on the big screen together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, quality time, man.
Mm-hmm.
You nailed it. So that's
for sure.
Cool. And I want to go back to even your child. We're talking about kids. I want to talk about your childhood, because obviously you're insanely successful. And I know that this did not come easy. You were like first generation success here. You came from literally dirt floors, if I understand correctly, right?
You are 100%.
Yeah. So
you are 100%.
And I know all about your mom and getting across the border and but twice. And I want
illegally.
Yes. I want you to tell the story, man. Tell us about your childhood.
So I want people out there to really understand this. I didn't have a father. Right. My father was abusive. He was a drug addict, and he would come home and he would, beat my mother. And at one point when I was 2 years old in Mexico, he even put us against the wall and shot at us for God knows whatever reason. Right. I'll tell you this, you don't have to have a father to be a great father. Okay. You just have to love your kids. That's it. If you love your kids, right. If you really love your kids, things are going to work out. Things are going to work out. And just to talk about my childhood, right? My childhood, I would never wish my childhood on anyone, because you can learn, we can be programmed and we can learn from a place of love, which that wasn't my case, or from a place of adversity and pain and suffering, which was my situation. I'm Mexican. I was not born in this country. I got my citizenship in this country in 2012. It took me 15 years to become a U.S. naturalized citizen. And it all started with my mother wanting more for her children. Okay. So you can say she had the mom edge, right? My mother was a visionary. My mother was an entrepreneur, without her even knowing she was an entrepreneur, right? She had a vision of saying, hey, my children are, first and foremost, I'm not going to die here with my children with this man, right? And it took us out of there. We went an hour and a half south to even a worse place, where now it's like you said, my childhood now is dirt floors, dirt roads. The house was made out of plywood, literally 4x4s, plywood, and laminate roofing. Okay. Brother, we didn't have electricity till the 6th grade. We didn't have running water till the 6th grade. Let me tell you what that looks like. There would be a truck guy that came around once a week with a huge water container in the back. We would have these 3 big blue containers in the front of the yard, and we would fill those. We would pay the man and we would fill those containers up. And that's how we would actually shower and wash clothes and, you do all the essentials, right? We had these gas lamps, literally these lamps, it was like glass with some type of oil, like the oil would go in and it would burn the flame, right? Old school, old school. That's how we grew up. You know, in the backyard, we had a washing board where we would wash our clothes. We had hangers, like wiring hangers where we would hang our clothes, right? And my grandfather built a back house where we would use the restroom, you know? So my mother didn't want that for us, right? First move was leaving my father. Second move was her unintentionally abandoning us, you know, as children. At this point, I am in the second grade, and her whole family told her she was absolutely crazy for doing this. They're like, what? You're going to go to the United States of America? What? Why? You know, think about trying to you're telling your family that you're going to go start a new life in a whole new place, in a whole different country, right? Her family, she has like 5 sisters, 2 brothers. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, my mom was a visionary. Like, she was a pioneer. So she unintentionally abandoned us for 2 years. She started working the fields in California, and she got amnesty. She got her immigration status through amnesty. And she would still send money. You know, she would send money on a weekly basis. We didn't have a phone. The neighbor had a phone. We would talk to her Fridays at like 4 p.m., 5 p.m. every Friday, like clockwork. And she would send money to my grandmother for us to get like clothes and shoes. Because guess what? Nobody in my neighborhood even had shoes. I actually felt guilty at times because I had shoes. So I would take my shoes off and go hang out with my friends who didn't have shoes. And now I'm not wearing shoes. You get what I'm saying? Because, you know, I was trying to fit in, right? So, and I felt a little bad at times. So anyway, my mother comes back 2 years later. You can imagine my childhood brother, like first grade, second grade. I'm sleeping. I got her picture under my pillow. I'm crying every night, every other night, wondering, where's my mom? Because again, my grandma can sit there and tell me like, hey, she's doing this for you. She's doing this for your future. Brother, as a first grader, second grader, kindergartner, I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, where's my mom? Right. So I'm sitting there, man, I'm heartbroken. That was some of the hardest times in my life. And finally she comes back from my brother and I, and she takes us to Tijuana, Mexico. The border was San Isidro, but you might know Tijuana, Mexico, because everybody knows they're right next to each other. She takes us through a sewer system, it's like a canal, you know, it's like a bridge and canal, right? And we get caught the first time. She literally had my brother holding him like this, and she was kind of, you know, carrying me like this. And we got caught. We got thrown out. We went to my aunt's house, who was living in Tijuana. We stayed there for about 48 hours, and you know, my mom was like, "We're doing this again. We're going to try again." Right? When I say that, she's like an entrepreneur and a visionary, right? So we try again. We get through. We live in Escondido, California. I attended the 3rd grade and the 4th grade there. It was about a year and a half. I learned as much English as I could during that time. And man, this is how you know, like I was going to be someone at some point, because nobody had to tell me to stay after school and learn English, spend summer school learning English. I was in ESL classes, English as a second language. No one, my mom doesn't even speak English to this day. So no one told me like, go learn English. I just wanted to learn English because I wanted to communicate with people. Right. So anyway, brother, I can tell you this, we failed financially. We got to the point, brother, where me, my brother, and my sister, now we had a half sister, same mother, we're under a tree. We're living under a tree for 3-4 days. And my mother says, you know what? This isn't going to work. We got to go back. So imagine going through all that turmoil, right? And you, like, as a kid, as a child, and then, you know, your mom abandoning you and waiting for 2 years. Then we get there, it's into the land of milk and honey, and we don't make it. We got to go back to the land of like whatever, you know, not milk and honey, dirt floors, dirt roads. And we go back, but my mother says this on the way back. She says, hey, keep your chin up, keep your head up. She's like, we're going to get back here again. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? Now I'm in the 4th grade. I'm in the 4th grade going back. We're going to make it back. She says, I'm going to work at a resort cleaning hotel rooms. You're going to work bagging groceries, and we're going to save up enough money, and we're going to do attempt number 2. I was, brother, because I was the man of the house. You know, even as a child, like I was already a man. I had to grow up very quickly. I didn't have a childhood. And that's why for me, it's so important to give my children a real childhood. So because I didn't have it. So anyway, we go back. I start bagging groceries. Man, I'm making more money than she is. She's making $30 a week. I'm making $10, $12, $15 a day, bagging groceries, speaking English near the resort, right? Handling Americans, taking the groceries out to their car, putting it in their trunk, and then asking for a tip. I was doing well, making $10 a day, right? So we save up enough money, brother, and we sent her to Phoenix, Arizona in a bus. Now another year and a half goes by. You want to talk about like my mother being absent in my life for 3.5, plus years as a child? That really affected me. It affected my programming. It affected my heart, So anyway, we get her back over here in Phoenix. Now she's very strategic. She's like, all right, son, I'm going to bring you first, and then I'll bring your brother, and then I'll bring your sister. Right. Because now we have a sister because she had her in California after we got there. So I said, okay. She brings me up to Nogales, Sonora, pays a coyote. Well, for people out there that don't know what a coyote is, it's a human smuggler. This guy, I'm in the 6th grade, and this guy, my mom tells me, hey, whatever he tells you to do, you do it. I'm going to be waiting for you on the other side. Right. But if you heard that gong, we just bought another house to flip. So anyway, that's a beautiful thing. Woo! So anyway, she pays this guy $25. And this guy's like, hey, you need to listen to me because, there's going to be lights and there's going to be a hole in the fence. And I got to get, okay, I'm a little kid. I'm a little kid, man. I'm like 10 years old, 10 years old. What do you want me to do? Okay. So, all right, run, duck. All right, go through that fence, go through the hole in the fence, meet my mother in McDonald's on the other side. And then we come up to where I am today, Phoenix, Arizona, brother. And who would have ever thought like that illegal immigrant that, went through all that poverty, this building, I bought this building for $2 million in 2019. We have 31 successful companies. 9 of them now are doing well over 7 figures. We are, mark my words, and, if this is God's plan, of course, if it is, but we are projected to get to the $100 million mark in the next 36 months. So if that's what God wants, because, it's whatever, right? It's like, to me, brother, to me, it's never been like that. That's another thing, man. Like, it's never been about the money. Thank God. For me, it's about growth. It's about prosperity. It's about serving. Like, my whole family works for me in one business or the other. Right. So, but anyway, that was my childhood, brother. And we started my paperwork process here in 1997. I got here. I was in the 7th grade, and we started my paperwork process. It was very long and very expensive and very extensive. And man, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all the lessons learned. You know what I mean? Adversity was definitely my X factor. But circling back around to what I said earlier, our children don't have to learn from adversity. They can learn in love. They can learn by operating in love. Actually, I think people learn even better operating in love, So I just want people out there to understand that, your children can become massive forces in this world, but it's up to you to make that happen. My mother did everything. My mother, no matter how poor we were, and we were dirt. I'm probably the poorest dude you'll ever meet. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, you might, unless you run into some guy from India that became a slumdog millionaire or something, like, right. So, but my mother, was one thing that she never told me that I couldn't do something. I was 5 years old in Mexico, and I was like, Mom, one day I'm going to have my own business and I'm going to retire you. And guess what, brother? March of 2017, I retired my mother. March of 2017. My mother lacks or needs nothing, God willing, for the rest of her life. Not $1, not one bill, not nothing. She is 100% taken care of. And now her family, who thought she was crazy, they're like, what happened? Right? They're like, what happened? You guys were the black sheep. And here we are, man. And it's been a beautiful journey. And my goal now is to start preparing my next generation, because I'm not going to make all these sacrifices, and my mother's not going to make all these sacrifices for my children to not do better than I'm doing. Brother, this last year, I hired I I spend anywhere from $150 to $250,000 a year in personal development, coaching, nutritionists, you name it, spiritual mentors, like, masterminds, events. I spent $144K last year in my own personal development because I had to get rid of a lot of what's called baggage from my childhood. I had to get rid of a lot of baggage, brother. And the only way to get rid of it is going in. You go in to get it out. Okay. So I hired one of my personal mentors, Tanya Oliver, out of Florida, to start coaching my daughter last year. And now my daughter has one coaching session per week. My daughter, my 8-year-old, she's already having personal development. On my family, brother, I spend anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000 a month on personal development coaching. And I want people out there to know that you don't have to spend $12,000 to $15,000 a month on personal. Again, we have two separate goals, right? Like my goal is to do what the guys from back in the day, the Charles Schwabs and the Rockefellers and those guys, what they did was they made it a responsibility to prepare the next generation. That's what I'm doing with my lineage is I'm preparing my children. Like I said, I'm going to give them their childhood, but when it's time to go, it's time to go. And I'm already planting seeds. My 8-year-old already has a personal development coach, right? And now my 8-year-old's already going to attend Edison School of Innovation next year. Creative thinking, critical thinking and entrepreneurship. I'm already making sure that I put them in the best positions possible. So that's my story.
Dude, there is so much there that you talk about adversity. That might be one of the most, that might be one of the stories that I've heard with the most filled adversity yet, to where like I'm feeling what your mother must have felt. It's like, oh my gosh, like we got to go back. We're living under a tree. Now we're going to try again. And the fact
she's a warrior.
Yeah.
She's a warrior.
Without a doubt. Like, I think there's a lot of people, I don't think I know. There's a lot of people out there to be like, just wasn't meant to be. That's it. And then it's kind of like do this, right?
Yeah. Let me show you something, by the way. Look at this. You see that mark?
Yeah. What is that?
That's in Mexico. That's when that's a birthmark. And like it's a shot that they give you in Mexico. So if anybody ever says I'm Mexican and they were born in the 80s and they don't have that birthmark, they're not Mexican.
Now, what is that? What is that?
It's like a tetanus shot. It's like some kind of tetanus shot. It's like, I don't know, man. Like watch, you'll keep an eye out. Anybody that's foreign, they have this shot. This is a shot, man, that they give you when you're a baby. So it's crazy, right? So if anybody, yeah, man, I'm from Mexico, I'm from Croatia, say, okay, let me see your arm, right? Let me see that shot. So anybody that was born 1990 or sooner, they're going to have that shot if they weren't born in the United States.
I didn't know that. I'm going to have to ask people that now. You got me all curious. So I want to dive deep on the personal development thing, because like, I think any average person would say, hey, Carlos Reyes, man, he's 31 companies, millions of dollars. He doesn't need a coach. Now you, on the other hand, and I think other highly successful people are like, no, now I really need a coach even more so. But there's a lot of people out there, man, so we run a community as well called That Is Alliance. It's for fathers to be, basically step into the best
they can be. Absolutely.
Right? And here's what I can tell you, what I think a lot of men view something like that through, like mentorship, coaching, masterminding is like, oh, well, if I need that, am I broken? Or do I need that? Like, is that worth it? You know what I mean? To the point where I think most men are like, well, once I get to a certain level, then I just don't need it anymore.
Never.
But that's never the case. I mean, I still invest in myself.
You will never arrive. You will never arrive. And that's what makes this journey, this experience, this life experience so beautiful, right? Because, man, I'm going to be 90 years old, God willing, if that's what he wants. And I'm still going to be learning something. I'm going to learn something from the new kids or, the technology, right? You'll never arrive. And you're right. Our best investment will always be who? Us, right? Because I say this all the time. Everybody wants to make their first $1 million. And I tell you, man, it was so easy for me to make my first $1 million, brother, right? And look at Vito. Vito's already made, I'm not to disclose him, but he's already close to half of that $1 million. And this is the thing. making $1 million isn't the hard part. It's becoming the person that is capable of attracting and making that $1 million. That's the difficult part, right? For a lot of dads out there, for a lot of entrepreneurs out there, that's the difficult part. Having the discipline, being committed, staying focused, staying out of bad relationships, staying out of toxic friendships, getting rid of anything and everything that doesn't serve you, hobbies, entertainment. Brother, 97%, 99% of society will not become that person. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense to me. And why do you think that is, though? What do you think is the biggest gap between someone who's like,
it's easy.
Yep.
It's easy.
What is it?
Comfort.
Yeah.
Comfort.
Yeah.
What does the mind seek?
Comfort.
I'll give you an example. Go ahead. I don't want to.
I was just going to say, I literally just put this on our Instagram feed yesterday, is that your comfort zone in the long run will bring you more misery.
It'll kill you.
It will.
It'll kill your dreams. It'll kill your life. It'll kill your potential. Right? I'll give you an example, not to throw my wife under the bus, because she, right. But yesterday, she was fighting, because, we've been growing a lot, we've been growing a lot through personal. She has one of my coaches serves her too, once a week. It used to be twice a week. And she sometimes, we, not her, we all fight for our limitations sometimes, right? She didn't want to go to our trainer. She didn't want to go to our trainer. She didn't want to go do her fitness or training session. And she was fighting. She's like, man, I don't want to go to the training today. I got to get the laundry done. I got to do this. And I got to take Sienna, one of my 2-year-old. I got to take Sienna to my mom's house. She was like fighting of not going to her trainer. Right. And I tell her this all the time. I'm like, hey, babe, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. So I pushed her to go. And sometimes, I don't know if you saw what I posted today on Instagram, but it was like, hey, I water you, you water me, we grow together, right? I pushed her to go. And believe me, she waters me more than I water her. She holds down the fort, right? So she's a full-time mom, full-time wife. So, and it wasn't, I retired her in 2016, but I encouraged her, empowered her to go. She went. Tell me why she calls me right when she's done with the training. She's like, babe, man, I love you. Thank you so much for pushing me. I feel amazing. Brother, you work out every day or every other, like, when has anybody ever regretted a workout, right? So again, that was just her limitations, because what was the mind seeking? It was seeking comfort. You don't go work out, just stay home and do some laundry. That's the easy thing to do, right?
Sounds very uncomfortable. I hate laundry.
Well, yeah, me too. Me too. I'll wash it. I just won't fold it. Yeah. But anyway, I know dad, like husband and dad problems, right? So, but that's just what it is, brother. People seek comfort. The mind seeks comfort, and people lack awareness. They don't even know. They're like in a hypnotic rhythm. It's like, because most of our programming happens from the ages of 0 to 7, right? That's when, as children, we are in what's called a theta state, mind frequency, theta state. That's when we're learning and we're asking and we're programming the subconscious mind from that age as children. So when we grow up to be adults, we're literally we're just moving around like robots based off the programming that we receive as children. You know what I mean? So I try to do my best to try to rewire all that, not only for me, but for my wife and my children. Now my children are being programmed to the best of my ability. And as you can now that we're having a conversation, that I take my home life even more serious than my public and business life, for sure. Because you know what? If my home isn't whole, I can't perform out here. I'm sorry. I just can't. I don't want to. I want to make sure that I am controlling the controllables at home. There might be some things that are out of control, but I want to make sure that my foundation and my home is always taken care of before I'm out here building these businesses and serving people. I want to make sure they're taken care of. And if you look at, this is one of my companies, by the way, it's called allinnation.com, right? This just says faith with our logo, which is super cool, right? But you see the core values there on the side of the hat: God, family, hustle. Like, those are our core values, and that's just what it is, brother.
I love that, man. Let's talk about your wife here for a minute. So obviously you've talked a lot about how you go raising these girls and how you interact and your intention around that, the conversations, personal development, coaching, and that kind of thing, which is so important. What are your core values as it relates to creating an extraordinary marriage?
I'll tell you what, everybody, there's an old Beatles song that says, all you need is love. Dun, 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 dun. You and I both know that's a big part of it, but that's definitely not all of it. Right. Respect, communication, right. And love are definitely some of the core values that we use at home between her and I. And I'll tell you I'll tell you a principle that's really served me at home. Date your wife.
Yeah.
Date your wife.
Thank you,
brother.
Yeah.
We have our, the kids go to grandma sometimes and we go do our thing. The kids go to grandma sometimes. And if I have some kind of speaking engagement, let me see. I'm making like my speaking engagements. I'm making them like family trips, which is super cool. Right. I was in Atlanta. I don't know if you know a guy named DJ Envy. He runs one of the biggest like shows. It's called the Breakfast Club. Right. I've never seen one episode and he might kill me for that, but he has a tour of real estate, like speaking real estate, right? He's a huge commercial investor. A lot of people don't know that, but he did the right thing. He took all that money he's making, the millions, and he put it into real estate. So I toured with him. We had a speaking gig in Atlanta, and I took my wife and my girls for 7 days. I just did New Jersey. We're doing Charlotte next. I'm taking my babies, all of them, to Charlotte. But there's times where I take just the wife because I want to spend some one-on-one time with my wife. Because, man, when things are beautiful between her and I, you already know what happens. It just it rolls downhill, man. So go ahead.
I think a lot of us have forgotten the importance of dating your wife, right?
It's totally like we just neglect our wives and the wives neglect us too. It's a two-way. Yeah. For those fathers out there and husbands, right. I know. No, he's like, oh yeah, easy for him to say no. They neglect us too. There's been time. Yeah, for sure. And in so many different ways. Right. And now they control us in certain ways.
Yeah. I love that you do that because I just started doing that myself. I actually just spoke to 150 real estate investors down in Destin, Florida. And the host who hosted the event, he's like, hey man, how much do you charge for speaking? I was like, I'll tell you what. I was like, pay for my family to come with me and we're good. How about that?
I've done that for people. I've done that for people.
And he's like, awesome. So I spoke to this group of investors about family and legacy. So building a business that makes you come alive and building an extraordinary marriage and connection with your kids along the way. Right.
I love that.
Yeah. Because many of us entrepreneurs, man, we get so involved in the business that we forget, or we don't have the intention to forget, but so much energy is spent on creating that empire that it's like, man, like, well, how do I do all three? Right. Mm-hmm. So I did that very thing. And the funny thing is I'm going to be in your neck of the woods. I mean, I'll be in Vegas, but it's a little bit farther from Phoenix, but I'm going to be on the Dropping Bombs podcast and I'm Bradley. Yeah. Yes. And so I'm bringing my wife with me. I'm like, hey, it's been like 2 years since we've had
brother, let me get you on another podcast. Look him up on YouTube. He's one of my great friends. His name is Ryan Pineda. Okay. He has over 120,000 subs on YouTube, hundreds of thousands on Instagram. TikTok is ridiculous for him. The Ryan Pineda Show. I don't want to fill your calendar because you got your family and you're dropping bombs, right? Yeah. Brad, bro, I love Brad. Brad's one of the realest, coolest dudes. Like cigar, I would totally smoke a cigar with that guy, right? I was on that podcast a few months ago, but I want to connect you with Ryan, brother, if that's okay. Just knock out two birds with one stone. The guy, he's an amazing human being. He does ads for Forbes. He does ads for like ZipRecruiter. Like the guy's doing really well. You know what I mean? Oh, he's in touch with Lewis House now, They had like an hour and a half combo through FaceTime. That was a little weird, but right. But yeah, I'll connect you guys. And he's a great dad. He's a great dad. You know what? Maybe you guys should have him on and you have, we'll do. That's a good connection.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
How can let's exchange phone numbers when this thing is over so we can make it happen.
I would, man. Thank you. I'm honored. Seriously.
Oh, brother, serving reciprocation, brother, that's just the way I serve those that serve me and I serve to the fullest.
Appreciate that, man. You are the man. I truly appreciate that.
Thank you, brother.
I have one more question for you. I want to put you in a situation.
Yes, sir.
And
I've never spanked my kids, so I don't know.
Right. Okay. Never mind. I'm not going to ask. No.
Okay. I've never spanked my kids to this day, which is my wife hates it because she's the enforcer, and I'm daddy. So, but if it's, no, that's the answer is I never spanked my kids, but anything else, let's let it fly.
No. Yeah. So let's do this. So you have an 8-year-old daughter, 2-year-old daughter, right? And what are their names?
MJ, Michaela Jade, and Sienna Iris.
Okay. MJ and Sienna.
Yep.
And your wife is?
Vanessa.
Okay. So let's fast forward 25 years down the road from now. Okay. At that point in time, MJ will be 32 years old.
Right? Oh, God.
Yeah. Sienna will be 27. I'm not sure how old, judging by that you were in the 7th grade in 1997.
Yeah, I'm 37 right now.
Yeah, so. I was going to say, I think I'm about 8 years older than you. But so you will be I'm in my 60s or something, right? Yeah, man. Right. Yeah. So let's do this. Maybe they have families at that point, and maybe they're married. Maybe you're a grandfather at that point, but you're all sitting around a table, and it's dinner time. Mm-hmm. And every single one of you raise your glasses, and you're like, what an amazing lifetime journey that we've had as a family. And if you were to ask those amazing women in your life, what were some of the best memories that we had together? What was so meaningful to you? What would they be telling you?
I love that. 2 things. Ready? Well, I would hope 3 things. 1, Hawaii, Oahu. I rent literally a beachfront property, this huge house in North Shore where we have our own beach. Like we don't even have to we want to go to Lanikai. We got to go to Hanama Bay. We are already on the beach. I know that's going to be 1. And Hawaii is where I proposed to my wife too, in the same island. That's 1. 2, swimming in our backyard. These girls love to swim, man. My 2-year-old, she got swimming lessons on Monday. She's getting swimming lessons today. She loves it. She absolutely loves it. So that's 2. And 3, I would hope that they both at one point say, my car rides with dad.
Yep.
So, and I almost get teary-eyed actually even saying that, man, because I'm in my heart, like my children bring me in my heart. So yeah, that would be it.
I love that, man. You know what's great about that. And I'm glad that it tugged on your heart.
You got me, bro. I think you knew. You definitely knew. You knew what to ask. You've done this before.
I've done it a couple of times, but it's interesting putting someone in a visual state of what's going to be there at some point.
Yeah, you just put me in my heart for sure. Wow.
And here's the cool thing about what you just said. It was the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, we sailed around the world. Right?
Yeah.
We did like these crazy things, right? It was these really simple things that made us come alive as a family.
Absolutely.
Right? That ultimately just connected us in ways, that we truly cherish, that were important to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely, man.
I know you have obviously a huge real estate business along with 31 companies. I know you do coaching and you do mentorship with real estate. But as far as whatever it is, how men can find you or what it is, how would you want them to find you?
Carlos Reyes on Instagram. Brother, you have an Instagram, right?
Yes, I do.
Do I look you up under your name or your podcast? Oh, I got it.
It would just be at the dad.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. Boom, baby. I'm going to reach out to you there, but Carlos Reyes, and I'll tell you what, based off like where I come from, I want people to know this. I may not be right away, but I always reply. I'm never, even when I'm doing 9 figures a year, not 9 figures a year, right? Like our companies think God already does over 8, which is a beautiful thing, amazing blessing from God. And I know that with great blessings comes great responsibility. So I will never, ever not respond to people. That's just not who I am. So if anybody ever has any questions in regards to business, life, dad, being a father, a husband, health, whatever, right? Like I will respond. That's that's a commitment that I make to every single listener out there. So Carlos Reyes on Instagram.
Well, guys, not to worry. We're going to have all of Carlos's links in the show notes. So, and I can attest that he is very responsive. In fact, not only so Vito connected us, our mutual friend, but you actually sent me an audio. You didn't even.
Voice, yeah, I love voice. It's so much easier and quicker, you know? Yeah. Right. So you should get into that, man.
That's how
people love audio more, right? Than like text, right? It's like, hey, what's it going, brother? They love audio and it's so much faster.
Yeah, it is. So, every now and again too, I'll just send a 1 minute video. People
videos are great.
Like, yeah, it is.
Our videos are great, man. So, brother, I want to connect with you definitely outside of this. I'm going to send you we have our phone number. We have our phone number. I'm going to connect. I'm going to call my buddy Ryan. And then I'm going to connect you guys. And I think you guys need to do some swapping, man. You guys have amazing platforms, totally two unique platforms. And I think you guys would really serve each other. And I know that you're in the same world that I'm in as far as like serving each other, you know, like just keep finding people that's, you know, just serve each other, man. And your life is it's such a beautiful journey, you know? So I'll put you guys together, man.
Man, thank you so much. And obviously reciprocity, if there's anything I can do for you, man, I'd love to as well. So
absolutely, my brother.
Thank you so much for coming on. This was awesome.
Thank you, brother. God bless you, man. And I'm going to talk to you soon. I'm going to actually hit you up on through text right now. Okay.
That sounds great, man. I really appreciate it.
God bless you. And thank you everybody for listening.
God bless you as well, brother. Gentlemen, for all the show notes, go to gooddadproject.com/325 for this show. This is 325. gooddadproject.com/325. And hey, if you're catching this right after 4th of July, happy Independence Day to you. Happy belated Independence Day to you. Also, if you want to catch this particular show on YouTube, you're more than welcome to do that. You'll find a link in the show notes for you as well. Gentlemen, go out and live legendary. Take care.